What's up, Space Cadets?
This is the
Next Gen Revolution Podcast.
And welcome to the motherfucking future.
That was perfect said.
It's nice to meet you, Emile.
Nice to meet you guys too.
Yeah, my name is Mason. This is Moses on the left here, and then KB's up top.
Nice to meet you.
We're all really interested in talking to you. Me especially. I found you on LinkedIn, and I was just like, this seems just like the kind of guy I want to get into a conversation with. You work with a lot of robots. You do a lot of technical things, but you're also in like the sales aspect, it seems. So, with that being said, could you kind of give us a description of what you do for a living?
Yeah, of course. I work in my own company. It's called Heliovision. I founded it 3 years ago, almost now. And what we do is we help actually other robot integrators to implement vision systems to their robots. So we really focus on the vision aspect, being quality control or picking. Pick and place with robots, but camera supported. And we help other guys set up their robots with these cameras.
Gotcha. So you come up to the roboticist and you're like, hey, why don't you add a camera to the system and make it smarter? Right?
Exactly. Although most of the time it's actually the way around. They get stuck on a problem or the client's really requesting for them to have a camera. And then they contact us because they could use some help on that. And they don't have that much experience most of the time.
Yeah.
That's when we come in.
So do you have a technical team that like you actually integrate the cameras into their systems, or do you just provide the hardware for them and then they go about doing the development?
No, so we are two other guys, so we're three in total. And we definitely help them integrate the cameras into the system because most of the time communication has to be set up. And depending on the robot brand, this is every time it's kind of different. So in that way, we always have to do some engineering or some support.
Awesome. So would you consider yourself an engineer?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I graduated here in Leuven in Belgium as an engineering in how do you say it? Mechanics.
Okay, like a mechanical engineer.
Yeah, exactly.
Man. So let's go like to the beginning. When did you get started with like robotics? Was that a thing you like enjoyed when you were younger, or started more like in high school, college?
Well, actually, when I was really young, like 7, 8 years old, I was really into robotics and really like being a kid, building them with Lego and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, awesome.
But then in high school, actually, I kind of completely got out of it. And then when I went back to when I was in university, in my fourth year there, we started building a robot for a project, and suddenly, I got it again.
It clicked. You were like, this is it. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's all. And then you went on to get your bachelor and your master's, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then in my master's, I had the opportunity to choose a topic of my master's thesis myself. So I proposed to do it around collaborative robots, which were quite new back then. And I got the chance to get my hands on a collaborative robot and on a camera, which was at that time a Pickit 3D vision system. And that's actually how I really got the connection. Like, whoa, if we add cameras to these robots, everything will be much more flexible and will be much more easy to automate. Actually, once you have different kind of parts that you want to make every day in, day out, then you really need to add vision. And that's when, things came around a little bit.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So, to get a little technical here, when you integrate the cameras, are you doing traditional computer vision, like image processing, or are you doing some like deep learning with taking images, doing some training on a model, and then integrating that piece, or do you do both?
Well, actually, I would say we do 3 categories of vision systems.
Okay.
So the first one I would say is what we call off-the-shelf vision systems. We have some deals with brands like Photoneo, Pickit, and also Sensopart, which is 2D vision. And these cameras, it's really, everything is already configured inside. You just have to, it's the kind of smart camera thing where You just have
Yeah,
to
they
make
have
some
their own
settings right.
software, right? Have you
Yeah.
heard of Cognex?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
another
yeah.
brand we
Okay.
sometimes use. Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's the first category we do, and that's the most easy one, let's say, in that way that integration mostly takes only a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I make the two other categories, which we call custom vision. One is the more traditional way, working with Halcon. I don't know if you heard of that. It's kind of a vision library we use.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is then using artificial intelligence, actually. So that's the third part. And what I see now is there's a lot of interest in that third region of deep learning and artificial intelligence. But to find a good case where you can really say, like, okay, in this way it makes sense now to use artificial intelligence, that's not so easy. You know, not every client we pass really needs artificial intelligence.
Right.
Most of the times it can get solved without, actually.
Yeah, I can see your point there for sure. So to give you some background, I'm not sure. I know you said you listened to a podcast or two of ours, but right now we're actually in the middle of a what we're calling a growth series. So we're really focusing on interviewing people and interviewing ourselves about how we can grow, how we can improve upon ourselves, our journey along that path, and then of course getting introspective on it. So with that being said, I kind of want to know you're the growth tactic that you like to integrate in your life, because it seems like you've been an entrepreneur. You've gone out and taken that extra initiative to make things happen for yourself. What's been the motivation behind that, if there is one?
Yeah, well, I think when we go into like deep motivation, which really makes me wake up every day and really want to do my job, is going in local factories here around Belgium and the Netherlands and really helping them improve their manufacturing cycle. Feeling that we can have an impact and they can still keep up competition with other countries, with other competitors because of automation and because of new technologies. I think the idea that innovation can really make a difference for a company is really what really gives me a thrill.
Wow. Yeah, I have to say I agree with you on that aspect. It's kind of the best feeling in the world, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Now that's a big moment. Like, I need to fix the factories in Belgium and make them more efficient, better. Now, how did we get there? How did you start off being like, I wanted to do robotics as my thing. I want to grow into this. I want to become the best that I could be and start my business. Like, what started that?
Well, I guess one of the things that really came to me while I was doing actually this master thesis was I was visiting some companies back then, and I was already noticing like there are a lot of different levels in which you can be working in automation. Some companies I visited, they had hundreds of robots applied and really, almost a full automated factory. And others I came in and it was really hard to even find the basic PLC there, It's really, they were still at level 1, And seeing these differences really motivated me, like, wow, there is so much work to be done yet in this sector,
So when so now you have, I'm guessing throughout your thesis and then following college, you built up like a network of contacts for being able to go into these factories and stuff like that. Because to me, if it seems like if I wanted to do what you do, I can't just walk in the front door of a factory and say, hey man, let me help you out or whatever. But so how did that get started? How did you get your foot in the door?
Well, it was really difficult, and I'm still struggling with it. It's one thing that helps, of course, is having good partners, because they can introduce you at some places. The guys from Pickit, the guys from Photoneo, they trust me because, okay, we have a kind of connection there, and then they can introduce me sometimes to factories and say, hey, let's have a talk with Emile because maybe he can help you out.
Right.
And another thing that really helped me is actually also the way you guys found me is being very active on LinkedIn and showing people just what we do. Sometimes it just attracts also the right people to you, They contact you and they say, I see you posting interesting stuff. Maybe this can be something for us. And then you get talking, of course.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you worked with Pickit 3D, right?
Yeah, a lot, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. What did you do for them?
Well, they were, it was almost 2 years ago, and they were really like broadening their perspective because they were very much focused on automation at that time. On the automotive market, not automation, but automotive market. So in a lot of car factories actually, and they wanted to know, like, is logistics something for us? Can we do something for the DHL or whatever TNT, that kind of companies. And so I did a kind of market research job for them as a freelancer, where I tried calling and I tried visiting a lot of logistic companies and showing them what Pickit can do with boxes, what they can do with bags and that kind of stuff to depalletize or palletize stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, what was a conclusion of that market research that I did for 6 months for Pickit was that logistics is really a difficult business to tackle. It's not like with automotive, you really see the cases, they're just in front of you when you enter the factory. With logistics, it's much more complicated than that. So actually, the outcome of that was that Pickit should just focus on his main target market as it is right now.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of logistics were the issue? Like, for an example.
What do you mean?
So you're saying like the logistics of implementing in like the Pickit 3D inside of an automation industry. Those were like the issues, but what about the logistics were the issues? I guess I'm just confused on that point.
Yeah, so the most logistic companies I visited are very centered around storage, and they're really good at getting inbound goods, storing them at the right position, and then pulling up one package from this whole pallet, taking it back to, and then sending it again off.
Okay.
To automate that, you need a really completely automated warehouse before you even can start picking this box from this pallet, you see? So there's a kind of step that has to be taken first before you can even start picking the objects.
I got you. So it's just, you can't just plug in that one piece of automation and make it all work together.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So how did you start your business? Was it something like kind of easy? You're like, oh, I'm just going to do, all this automation stuff at the factories? Or you were like, I'm not sure I want to start, but I see this problem and I kind of want to get going with that?
Well, after I did the freelance job for Pickit, and that was also the time I was also doing a freelance job for another very big supplier in Antwerp. And I was actually, Pickit proposed me, you can come and work here. We'll give you a full-time contract here. But I was doubting about that because I felt like I like the freelance kind of thing, being my own boss. The entrepreneur in me just said like, nah, this isn't a good way to go. And then one of the guys at Pickit, who was the manager back then, he offered me like, okay, but you can also be the distributor. You can be another party to work with. And that actually gave me the click like, okay, then I start my business with Pickit as the first brand, but I want to broaden my perspective. And in the coming months, years, I started gaining other brands as a representative for them or as a distributor. And in that way, it kind of actually, I'm, how do you say this? I own this guy a lot because he gave me that opportunity to just get started.
Right.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Pretty much set you up right away with the first client. It was like, here you go. We need your services. Just make your business and help us out. Now, I have a good question. So how has a failure or anything that you didn't go right for you helped lead you towards success? And do you have like a favorite failure of yours?
Oh, I have a few. No, I think one really big one for me was a client. Let's not get his name there, but he had me for a few meetings and we talked about the vision system on his robots. And there was a really connection and we were really like, yeah, we can do that and we can solve this and we can solve that. So there was a lot of enthusiasm at the moment. The sale got through, he bought the systems. And the moment we start implementing them, he really crashes into it. He gets stuck completely. And I realized like I've been too optimistic with this guy. We were both just too enthusiastic about this instead of really getting to reality at a certain point in the sales process. And then things turned bad. There even at a moment there were some lawyers involved. Luckily, it didn't get through, and we managed to set the system up in production. Everything ended well. But that made me realize that you can be enthusiastic to clients or with other technical guys, but at a certain moment, you also really have to come down to the reality of it and tell people it's not going to work the first hour we install this, not even the first day. We'll still have a few days work, even with the most easy vision system.
Dang.
Wow.
Sounds like a mess. But you can learn a lot from those situations. And I agree with you that being too enthusiastic or optimistic doesn't work a lot when when it's not the reality of things. It's like, yeah, we're awesome. We have a client. We're gonna get the systems ready, but like, hey, it's gonna take a week. Is that cool with you? And if not, then like, they're just not gonna work. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you have many failures. Do you have another one? Or...
Okay, I have another good one for
Let's
you.
do it.
This one is also one I can advise everyone who's doing technical stuff for clients. This was a job we had for an end client, and he wanted a Halcon vision system, so a really custom specified vision system we developed for him, actually almost from the ground. And we had the spec sheet set up. You know, it was a document, I think 8 pages or so, all the specs that it had to have, what it had to do, etc. We set it up exactly like that, and we realized this isn't working. So I emailed the client and I told him, like, okay, all the prerequisites that you gave us, all the things you said that would work like this with your product, it doesn't seem to work like that. I think we started off with the wrong information from your side. And instead of answering that email, he called me and he said, yeah, I know we messed up. You know, it was wrong and we were wrong. Can you fix this for us? And of course, I was really enthusiastic because like, hey, this guy is taking it good and he wants me to fix it. So I told him, we will fix it. I have a way, I think, but it will take us, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 days more of development. Is that okay for you? And on the phone, he agreed, like, yeah, 5, 6 days development, no problem. You just fix this. So we did. System went into production. Everything was fine. And then I sent him the bill for these 5 or 6 extra days. And yeah, things turned up bad. So then he suddenly said, like, we'd never agreed to this. We're not going to pay this, etc. And in the meantime, of course, this problem was fixed. So what could we do? Should we put the system back offline? I mean, that would also be a scumbag move to make, you know? So
yeah, wow. I mean, it is true that you have to, like, confirm, I guess, payment for a lot of people. They're like, oh, you can fix it, but it's going to cost more? Oh, no, I don't want that.
Yeah,
so it's just, and you don't really know that because you think, oh, they would just be okay with it. But nah, a lot of people with money. Yeah. But still, money, people get very, you know, tight about it.
Development isn't easy, and it's not cheap either. So
yes, like,
and if you give us the wrong information from the get-go, you better know that you're going to pay us some more.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then of course, in the end, you look at all the emails because you just want to prove your point that he said this, and you really can't find a letter stating that. You just know it was only the phone calls. Yeah.
Yeah, you learned your lesson there, I guess.
Oh man, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
Okay,
yeah.
So there's a worldview of what success is. What would you say your personal definition of success is?
My personal definition of success, I think one of the most important things for me is when an operator or an engineer really on the ground at the factory comes at me a few months after it's been set into production and he just pats me on the shoulder or he says like, I really like what you did here. You know, because in the first few days when things are running, mostly they're not smooth, but sometimes they even are. But even then it all feels like, oh, this is new, wow. But what I like more is like, when you visit after 5 or 6 months, everything's still running fine. And then some operator, some guy working there, he comes to you and he says, man, you really did an improvement. That's for me, that's the biggest reward you can get.
Yeah.
And I had one guy particularly, which I remember very good, he's called Mark. And he was an operator, I think he was 60, 62 years old. So really like going to the end of his career at the company. And when he first saw me coming in, he was, no way, robots with vision, please don't tell me. He really didn't want to hear the new thing. He just wanted to retire in a few years. And I met him recently, I think it was only a month ago. And he came to me and he said, man, my job really got better thanks to you. So that was really, for me, that's one of the major successes, really.
Oh, yes. Impact. And like what you're doing impacts other people. That's important.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you need to constantly be doing things every day, or do you just work on your like craft?
If I study a lot to get in?
Yeah, like I mean, like, do you have this very like self-conscious thing where you're like, hey, like, am I doing a good job this week, today, this year, like, or you just like, I'm just wake up and try to help people?
No, I really like at least every 2 weeks I try to evaluate myself as well and try to think about what have I been doing? Was this the right thing or the wrong thing? And when things get busy, this is difficult to find a moment to really stand still and think about these things. But I got in a coaching with a, how do you say this, a trajectory really that helps you in a year to develop as an entrepreneur. And
Right.
since then, I'm obliged to meet my coach every 2 weeks for 1 hour. So that really helps, because that 1 hour, it's set in I pay for it, so I go there, of course. And then you really have an hour to really sit there and say, I fucked this up. I messed this up. Okay, how am I going to do this better next time,
Exactly.
That seems to be a trend. I think we've interviewed a couple people now that have career coaches, and it seems like that's kind of what it is. It's just somebody to like, you sit down and like, no, we're going to get introspective. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? How can I improve? What are my goals? And I guess, like you said, when you're super busy, the odds that you do that on your own time is kind of low.
It's low, yeah.
Yeah, and also too, you're emotionally attached sometimes, so you can't see it from the perspective the coach can. So they see it from a different vantage point because they're not emotionally attached to what's happening, so they can call you out on it from a different perspective. So it's
That's
very
so
helpful.
true. Yeah, it keeps you accountable.
Yeah, it does keep you accountable. I also have another question. Far as coaching and doing things in your life, what is your daily routine?
Yeah, I'm
Daily
interested in this too.
I
If
must
you even
say,
have
for
one.
me, days really vary
Yeah.
a lot. That there are days indeed when I just have some online meetings, but mostly then doing research or really just helping out clients, setting up systems that are more like at home days, let's say. But
Okay.
then I think 50 or 60% of the time I'm just in my car driving to companies and just getting the word out, like, hey, this is what we can do for you, or we can help you with that. And really, I'm a lot on the road actually during the week.
So do you prioritize, I'm guessing are you the sole owner of the company
Yeah, for now.
for now? So I'm sure you, I guess, prioritize sales and going out there and talking to companies over actually being the one developing the systems that you're building.
Yeah,
You have like
exactly.
so you have a technical team that's doing that for the most part, and then you're just trying to get the word out.
Yeah, that's a kind of the balance indeed that we have. Although sometimes it's really like stopping on the side of the road, opening up your laptop and just trying to fix a thing right now.
Really? Dang.
That's crazy. You better have good internet.
Exactly.
Yeah, if
Better
I
have that
didn't
5G.
invent the hotspot, I would really be fucked.
It really is a lifesaver. Now, when you started your business, did you have a tech team, or was it just you developing and doing sales?
No, that was indeed the start. And then I was doing mostly like the off-the-shelf vision systems like I was talking about. So the technical development needed was also much lower. So in that way, I could handle it in the beginning. But also I had to let go a lot of clients because some things you can't fix with off-the-shelf vision systems. They're just not ready for this kind of applications. And that's when I met Tur, who is my dearest technical colleague, let's say, because he's been working in this Halcon library for like 15 years now.
Wow.
So really, he has all the experience. You show him a problem, and he's like, I can pull that with this and this and this, and then things really move fast. Since I've been working with him, it's now like 1.5 years, I think. We've been a team, and that's really great.
Awesome. And then you said you only have 3 people total, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You guys are killing it. It sounds like. Congrats.
So what advice would you give to other entrepreneurs just starting out? What's one thing that you would tell them to help them have a more successful launch?
Well, first of all, the coaching, I really think that's a really big one, actually. Even if I think even the quality of the coach doesn't matter that much, as long as you have someone who indeed, as you said, who calls you out, who just challenges you with a few questions each week is already super valuable. And another thing I think is start part-time, because at the moment when I was starting, it was also kind of a thing like that. I was still studying a bit. I was working a bit as a freelancer and then starting my own company. And this gave me actually a lot of peace of mind because, if it fails, I still have other stuff and I'm not completely focused on this business. For me, this helped me a lot. I think if I would have just started and said, okay, 100% of my time is going to this company, then the stakes were much higher, and then maybe I wouldn't have this easily between big brackets, but I have built this company as it is right now.
Right.
That's good advice.
That's interesting because it's like the opposite of burn the bridges, or It's more just like burn the boats. It's just like you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it balanced. I'm gonna do a little bit of my schooling, a little bit of work, and it worked out for you. And I think that actually this moves into my next question: is what advice should people ignore? What do you think?
Exactly. There's some stuff you shouldn't take on.
Well, what I don't like, but I talk about it a lot with my girlfriend, is like the guys who like you have to grind your way. You know, you have to go 100%, do nothing else but your company. Like I really don't like that approach, because I think you need a clear mind when you're working. So you can only have that if you still have some time off, if you still have some other activities or friends or whatever. If you just go really all in from the first moment, I think you lose too much of perspective to make good calls.
Right. It's kind of like
No,
you
I
get
agree
tunnel
100%.
vision, and you can just wear yourself out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will probably most likely burn yourself out because you have other areas of your life that you'll neglect, and then life won't be as joyful.
And that's the point of it all, right? Why are you starting the business? Because you're looking for more joy. So why put all that effort in just to get like sad? It doesn't work out, and you just put everything you had into it. Oh man.
So is it true when Elon Musk says that entrepreneurship is like eating glass? Because it can be tough. It's like, have you had days where it's just been like, wow, am I going to get out of this like dark time?
Days, I've had weeks like that, even a month. I think, So, and also because at a certain moment, I think this is also a spot where I am. The last year is like already a lot, like 10, 20 customers are now depending upon me, and sometimes also even really asking me to my face, like, how sure can I be that this company will still be there in 3 or 4 years, because I will still need support. You know, I will still, maybe I have another problem that I want to tackle with you guys. So that's actually one of the things that also helps me then to move on, is like, okay, no, but these guys, they are kind of depending on me, and I still like serving them or like helping them out. And then you know, you stay there because that's what you do it for as well.
Yeah. So
I agree.
I'm interested in how you go about. I know you said like you got to start with Pickit, and you kind of got some connections there. But when you said you travel around and go to these different companies, do you set up an interview? Like, do you just cold call them and say, hey, this is what I do. I'd like to set up an interview, or not an interview, but a meeting, and then you just show up? Or do you literally just show up and say, like, I got all this cool stuff, and I think you guys could use it?
Well, recently I've been having a few people who were advising me to do that, actually. You know, just the cold knock on the door and then just walk in. And I've been doubting to try it now, because I think maybe it could work, but I haven't tried it, so can't tell you anything about that.
Okay.
But what I do a lot is some cold emailing and also just LinkedIn messages. And most of the time what I try to do is I try to inspire people first, and not just like, hi there, I try to sell you something, because that doesn't work.
Yeah, it never comes off right.
When you show them some interesting stuff that's close to their business, or you tell them about a similar company as theirs where you visited or where you saw a few things, that most of the times really works, because people get inspired and then they want to know more.
Right.
That's good advice.
That's
get them interested first. Just try to offer some incentive in the beginning. Don't even act like a salesman. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So how do you handle marketing then? Or do you just do it through the emails?
Yeah, it's kind of like website, the LinkedIn videos, and emails. So marketing is really kind of small thing for me at the moment. What I did try once, actually, interesting to share to whoever is listening, is I tried real mail, you know, like sending them
real mail
letter. Yeah.
When was this, a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my
6 months ago. So people were really going nuts about it. They were like, "What the hell are you doing, man? It's 2020. You can't send real mail to a company." But actually, it kind of did the job. I think I sent out 80 or 90 letters to companies I thought that would be interesting in vision systems, and out of it, I think I got like 15 Skype calls and 5 real life visits. So
no way.
it's actually
wow,
pretty okay. But the thing about it is, it's so special in 2020 to receive some real mail that people really notice you.
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute, what is this? Okay, and then look it up online. It's like they're pretty legit. Let's do it. uh, wow. Okay. I guess
Yeah, I
I
wouldn't
guess
have guessed
since now, I guess since it's out of trend, it's like, you know what? It might actually work. It's kind of like the old things where they come back. Kind of like nowadays with new things, like old things are coming back into the hip, the cool, the trend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's circulating all over again.
So, what bad recommendations have you heard in your profession that you think people should avoid,
Bad recommendations.
or like advice, I guess? Well, not advice, more like what people have told you to like go into, or people to message. Like, what are some things that just like didn't work out, and like people were like, yeah, you should do that.
Well, one thing I've heard a million times at least is you can be an entrepreneur if you haven't worked for a few years at a company. And really, especially of course when I just got started, people were like, but you have no prior knowledge. You didn't work first at a big tech firm, you know, what are you starting your business already? And of course it destabilizes you a little bit every time you hear that. But then you have to counter that with some successes, and also by just learning on the job is, I think, still the most valuable way to learn stuff. And if this job is a freelance job or it's a really, you know, full-time job, I don't think the difference is that big as they say it is. Although probably I am messing up a lot of stuff that I could have done better if I first would have had a few years of experience in a big tech company. I'm not gonna deny that.
Yeah, but this is your journey, you know.
Yeah.
It's your own
Maybe
journey.
if you worked at the big tech, you would never sent those letters.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yes.
Yeah, and you get more like independent control too. Like you get to do things how you feel you want to do them and explore like your own creative intentions. And working for a big company, you wouldn't be able to do that all the time unless they gave you that free reign to do that. You have to do it what their vision is and where they see the company going, but you could develop your own mission and whatever impact you want to have, which it seems like you're doing. So that's very awesome.
Yeah, it's almost more authentic. Like
It is,
you know,
yeah.
you're not taking things that worked for somebody else and using it as your own. You're building it from the ground up, which of course it might.
He's
take
being
longer.
innovative.
Yeah, you might make some mistakes, but that's what life's about. That's what entrepreneurship's about, right?
Yes. And I see like though you said something that really stood out to me, and it's like you have to find your way along like while you're going, and that's a good trait to have. Like being adaptable and flexible for an entrepreneur is a very like resourceful skill.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of want to touch back on, you were saying you got some bad advice. So did you take on a lot of negativity while you were building out your business or getting it started for the first time, or really in general when you're trying to do something on your own, you think you have a good idea, and then somebody comes in that hears what you're doing and they just like, I don't think that's a good idea, and it hits you, it hurts you. Did you get a lot of that, and how did you kind of react to it in a way that was beneficial to you? Because it seems like you're doing well for yourself.
Well, I think actually it didn't happen that much. So I had like good long periods where I was just pretty confident and feeling that I was going somewhere, and only like a few really like setbacks or really critical people who just like try to destabilize me. So because I had a kind of longer periods where I was stable, it sounds weird to say that, but I think that really helped me to grow into what the company has become right now. Because I think indeed if you meet a lot of these destabilizers every week or every day even, then I think it will become really hard. And in that way, it's maybe even a good tip, but I don't know, maybe it's not, to have just a lot of positive people around you when you're starting. And even if it's not completely true that they're positive, you know, it will keep you going. And that's
true,
what matters, I think.
Yeah, you want them to be honest, but you want them to encourage you too. Yeah.
Now, I have a really good question. I don't know if you struggle with this or not, but we all tend to. But do you have this feeling where you're like proud of yourself, but then you feel like you need to work harder? And how do you get through that?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we actually just had a podcast on this. We were talking about how like literally we one day we'll be very excited, very happy about like the progress we made. And we all kind of were running in different directions trying to start our own things. And then one day it will just get us where we're like we didn't accomplish as much as we wanted to. We kind of get we don't get like depressed per se, but it's more like it eats
Critical.
away at you a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
I stay up at 2, I can't sleep at night. I'm like, I just didn't do what I thought I could achieve today. And I kind of get hard on myself. And I guess we're wondering if the same thing happens to you.
Yeah, especially because I have, I have pretty big, hairy goals. Let's say, I want to get to a lot of places, and I want to. I mean, the optimal, really big goal for me, is like building my own vision software with the company and being innovative in that way that we can help a lot of small SME-like companies integrate vision. And I think somehow some software or and even hardware as well is missing for that. So I really want to more develop a product in the end. Although today it's really difficult to do that because you're just trying to let this company already run stable. That's already big enough of a job. So in that way, I really recognize what you're saying. You come home, you didn't even have a really bad day, but still you feel you're like so far from where you want to be in the end that it feels like, damn, is this going fast enough? Am I doing the right things to get there eventually? And then being doubtful about that.
You hit that on the head. That's kind of exactly what we're trying to work on, ourselves. At least I am. And it's a struggle. Some days are really easy. Some days I feel very, very good, and I know I'm going at the right pace. And other days I'm like, I need to speed things up. I'm not working hard enough. I'm this, I'm that, trying to correct everything I do.
Yeah.
So when you have those moments, what do you say to yourself, or how do you get through that? Or you just keep saying like, I'm long-term vision, I'll get there, let me just relax. Enjoy the journey.
Well, there are two tactics I have for that. One is really focusing just on the last month and just going back through my calendar and seeing like, okay, no, but that day I did a good thing, and that week we managed to finish this project, and just really clicking back effectively in my calendar and looking at some success sometimes helps. The other thing that really works for me, and it's kind of stupid, is going to sleep. But really, I really have the feeling that when I'm in a really bad mood and I just go to sleep very early, even at, I don't know, 7, 8, or 9 in the evening, it really helps me to really gain a lot of energy back. And then the next day I'm, ready to focus again and to go for it. And it's, my girlfriend's always laughing at me for this solution because of course it's not a solution, it's just going to sleep.
Yeah. But it is a solution in a way.
It definitely is. You're taking a
rest.
Yeah.
Definitely the opposite of what I do. I'll just like, all right, I got this. Let me drink a Monster and let me do this all night. Let me make sure I feel productive.
I'm the same way, dude. I can't. When I'm in that state, I struggle to sleep. My mind's just going. It's like, oh, there's all these things, blah blah blah. And lately I've been actually, thanks to Moses, I started journaling, started writing things down. And it's been helping, when my mind's running and I just have all these thoughts, and just jot something down, get it all out there, and then that gives me something to look back on the next day, and then improve upon it.
Yeah, exactly. As well, for me, it really also helps to really write by hand, and also I got a lot of reaction on that in the business world, because I still have a real notebook with me when I go to meetings. And I really write with the hand everything
Me too. I have a whole notebook. I came to one of our meetings one day and there was like, you need all that?
Like, yes,
I do.
Yeah, it's kind of a way for me also to, in a strange way, gain an overview of the situation, because I have notes to look back at what I really wrote down. It's not just text in a Word document or something like that. And it's funny because a colleague of mine, Flora, the other guy, he's now copying this way of working for a few weeks. I still gotta ask him how he's doing with it, but I was really proud of him. Like, you bought the notebook! Wow.
Oh yeah, you definitely gotta check in with him, see how he's doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, do you have any other unusual habits or absurd things that you love?
Okay. let's see. So what I do also, I'm very passionate about is music. I have my own band together with the front vocalist Jeff. We're making Dutch. How do you say? Is Dutch spoken music? No, is that right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lyrics are in Dutch, so our native language. And what I really like about it is that it's really a two-focused band. You know, with one focus is on making cool pop music, but the other thing is really about writing down lyrics that really make sense and not just the casual "I love you, I miss you, I hate you" kind of stuff.
Taylor Swift.
So, and yeah, because of the coronavirus, of course, all the live gigs were canceled for more than a year and a half now. So I'm really eager to go back out and start playing again with that band, and also writing some new music, because at the moment also the inspiration is kind of very low. And I think for me it's really related to the fact that I have the feeling that if I write something now, yeah, no one will hear it because we won't play it live. And in that way, I think that's why I think as well we kind of stopped writing music now for a while, which I really miss actually.
Do you play
What about,
an instrument?
Yeah, guitar.
Guitar. Oh, okay, awesome.
Have you thought about like creating a studio and just like recording yourself and posting it instead of doing live events?
Yeah. So we've recorded two EPs, you know, small 5-track numbered CD albums in professional studios. And although, you know, I have the feeling there's a lot of people think that it's heaven to go to a studio and, you know, record stuff. For me personally, I'm not really eager to go back, you know. It's a thing that has to be done because you want the record, of course, but the process is really, you know, you get really tired of it just because it's so, everything has to be perfect and you have to be in focus all the time. I think studio work is really a tough job.
I would have never known that. Okay.
How do you balance, you know, making music? I know it's been a year and a half, so you've kind of taken a break, but I mean, it seems like you started the company and you were making music and in a band and working freelance all at once. How did you kind of balance all that? Was there you set up a schedule, or did you, what was it?
You know, yeah, but I have this kind of tracking app. This is also I'm doing confessions here.
I love it.
What we're here
Keep
for.
going.
I have this kind of tracking app on my laptop, which shows me how much hours I've been spending on what web pages or on what applications. And the thing that always comes up highest or second highest is just my calendar, because I spend so much time planning what I'm gonna do to make it all fit in each other and you know, combine stuff.
Yeah.
And every time a client or a distributor or whatever sees my calendar, he's like, "Whoa, what is this mess?"
What's the name of the app, if you don't mind me asking?
Wait, I'll check it out. How is it called again? It's on my
You don't necessarily have to if it's a pain.
No, I'm not remembering right now, but
That's
I'll
fine.
I'll send it to you afterwards.
I'm sure I could find it. Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
So how do you decide on how you plan your days or weeks or months?
Well, until 6 months ago, it was really just like what people were asking of me. I was planning that first, and then I was filling up the gaps. But recently, also because I was with this coach talking about that, he said like, no, you really have to also make your own planning, like what days you want to be in the office and what days you want to be at clients. Make that for yourself, and then schedule what you get into these days. And actually, that also helped me a lot to structure my days more, saying, okay, no, Monday is a full day in the office. No one can touch that. Even the most important client cannot get me to his company on Monday morning. And in that way, also gaining some focus, because if you're all the time on the road, I think, yeah, no one can run a company like that. It's just too much of travel then.
Right.
Now, has there been an investment that you've made, whether it's time, money, or energy, that's been like worthwhile to you?
Let's think. An investment that, definitely a good car.
What kind of car do you have? A Tesla?
I used to have a how do you say this? A van, like that because it was easy to transport a lot of big stuff around.
Yeah.
But the downside of it was that driving it was more tiresome, and also there was kind of background noise all the time from just being the van on the highway. And I bought a Volvo, which is a pretty decent car. And since then, I also noticed that I'm just less tired from driving around a lot. So I always was thinking, it's so strange that all these sales guys have these big fancy cars. I don't need that, but I kind of get it now.
I kind of want it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That
I guess
makes
we're
sense.
coming up. We're kind of
Yeah.
close to the end here.
We are.
So we always ask everybody we interview a certain question, and take your time. But if you were to picture this, us four sitting on a couch, flying through space, circling the globe, and there's this big billboard that everyone can see, what would you put on that billboard to let everybody know? Kind of some advice, something, short little excerpt, whatever you live your life by, maybe like a mantra. Do you have anything that comes to mind? It's kind of a big question.
Yeah, indeed. It's a,
Yeah, because the whole galaxy is gonna see that billboard.
Yeah.
I think it would be a really basic one, but show respect for everyone around you, and show respect for what they are doing, even if you don't understand it.
Yes.
That's amazing, man.
Phenomenal.
That's beautiful.
Well, thank you, Emile, right?
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time.
I've been scared to say it this whole time. I'm like, I'm going to mispronounce it. for
Right.
sure. But hey, really though, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you guys
This has
for
been an
having me.
amazing episode. Yeah, thanks so much, and I hope to have you on again. Honestly,
All right, that would be cool.
yeah.
Yes,
Awesome.
it would.
Well, thanks a lot, man.
Actually, we'll
Yep.
do one last thing.
Go ahead.
We'll just hand the mic to you if you want to do any last minute shout outs, last minute like quotes, whatever you want to leave the audience with. And again, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. I think one last thing that I would like to say to the audience is that I think automation is really not threatening any jobs. It's creating new ones and other ones, but not in the end taking away jobs. It's creating jobs. And I think if everyone starts realizing this and wants to improve, then we're off for a good future, I think.
Welcome back to Earth. I hope you've enjoyed your journey.